The midday sun beat down on the quiet suburban street. 91-year-old Earl shuffled along, his cane clicking against the pavement. His walk was slow but steady. He had been a man of routine for decades. 3 shadows fell across Earl's path. A trio of bikers had pulled up, their engines roaring like angry beasts. The leader, a mountain of a man with a snake tattoo snaking down his arm, sneered down at Earl. Well, what do we have here? An old geezer out for a stroll?" He laughed, a harsh, grating sound. His buddies joined in, their laughter echoing off the houses. Earl stopped, his gaze unwavering. He looked at each of the men in turn, his expression unreadable. "Move along, boys," he said, his voice surprisingly firm for his age. "I'm not looking for trouble." The bikers were taken aback by Earl's calm demeanor. They had expected fear, perhaps even begging. Instead, they were met with quiet strength. This only fueled their anger. "You think you're tough, old man?" the leader growled, stepping closer. He shoved Earl, who stumbled but didn't fall. The other bikers circled around him like wolves surrounding their prey. One of them snatched Earl's phone from his hand. He smashed it on the ground, the screen shattering into a spiderweb of cracks. "Oops," he chuckled, his voice dripping with malice. "Looks like you won't be calling for help anytime soon." Earl took a deep breath, his eyes hardening. He had faced down tougher challenges in his life. These punks were nothing but a nuisance. "You boys need to learn some manners," he said, his voice low but steady. "Now, I suggest you get back on your bikes and leave this neighborhood." The bikers, surprised by Earl's defiance, hesitated for a moment. The wail of sirens cut through the air, breaking the tense standoff. A police car screeched to a halt beside the group. 2 officers jumped out, their hands hovering near their holsters. "What's going on here?" one of them barked, his eyes scanning the scene. The bikers immediately started protesting their innocence, pointing at Earl and yelling about disrespect. Earl, however, remained calm. He recounted the events in a clear, steady voice, never exaggerating or embellishing. The officers listened intently, their expressions growing sterner as they heard about the phone being smashed. They turned to the bikers, ready to make an arrest. But then, to everyone's surprise, Earl intervened. "Officers, there's no need for that," he said, his voice surprisingly strong. "I don't want to press charges." The police were taken aback. They couldn't understand why Earl wouldn't want to see these thugs punished. The bikers, too, were dumbfounded. They had expected a fight, not mercy, and yet here was this old man letting them walk away. As the police drove away, the bikers lingered. They were curious about Earl, about his strange reaction. One of them, younger and less hardened than the others, mumbled an apology. Earl simply nodded, his eyes twinkling with an unknown emotion. He turned and continued his walk, leaving the bikers staring after him. They decided to follow him, their curiosity piqued. They watched as he turned a corner and entered a gated community. This wasn't the kind of neighborhood they expected. Mansions lined the streets, each more opulent than the last. Earl's house, while not the largest, was still grander than anything they could have imagined. It was then that the leader had an idea, a dangerous and foolish idea. He whispered to his buddies, his eyes gleaming with greed. They would wait until nightfall, then return and relieve the old man of his valuables. After all, how much trouble could he be? He was just a frail old man, wasn't he?